It should tell me. Okay. It's not. Come on. I can't believe this. This is actually insane. Okay, let me try from my phone because this is not working. Like,
well, I can see you. Why don't you just record it?
Oh, we're live. Okay, we're live now. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Skeptic podcast. It's just giving us problems going live, but I have one of my favorite guests today. I have with me Miles from the Basis Project, and Miles is a legendary UFO researcher, known for his work on secret, black ops projects. He's a legendary UFO UK researcher, engineer, and documentarian known for the Basis Project. One of the longest running archives on MILABs, underground facilities, on human intelligence and hidden technological underpinnings of the UFO cover-up from early AMMACH days to the modern Basis conferences, which is coming up. Miles spent decades interviewing whistleblowers and piecing together black ops machinery beyond the wider reality. So we're going to get into the wider aspects of disclosure, and we're going to be getting into some of the work that Miles has done with some of the whistleblowers he talks to. And we're also going to talk about his upcoming Basis conference, which is going to be awesome. And with all that said, I'd like to give him a big warm welcome back to the show. Miles, thanks so much for coming back on, man. How are you?
Well, actually, I only do this to sell these mugs. And this is Sandy Adams. And Sandy Adams is a brilliant lady, and she lives down at Glastonbury. And she's the one who pioneered all the stuff on Agenda 20 and 21 and 30, and now she's speaking at a great little place. There's some brilliant ladies in a very artistic place, very arty-farty and posh, in Stroud on the 29th. And there's a new AI that they're bringing in. They're bringing in, a lot of people won't realize that there are separate robot laws that the legal profession have been trained in a good 15 years ago. So there's robot law. This is like straight out of Isaac Asimov. By the way, can you hear a sort of a buzzing sound in the background? I've got a fire running here. I'll switch it off.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Let's get that off. I'm switching off in 60 seconds. So, for instance, if you challenge a cyborg or a robot, or you, they will have their rights as indigenous property. And you won't. You'll have your human rights, which is the whole trick about human rights and human resources. I mean, this is quite old, this basic bit. So people have never, the pennies never dropped, because these creatures, which are the most vile, despicable vermin in the universes, we are fantastic, brilliant beings, but we're conned that we're not. So if we switch on our permissions, we can wipe these people out, these things, these vermin, the scumbags, right? Yeah. They run around doing all this sort of stuff. However, I've got one of these small heaters about this size. It's noisier than a bloody Pentium 5 cooler fan. I think that's what they built it with. Anyway, a Pentium was a computer chip for people having a bloody.
I remember those.
Yeah, just about. Yeah. Anyway, that's just pure fan noise. In other words, it's a rip-off con job thing. Don't believe everything you see on YouTube, particularly flash frame ads. Right. So the point about it is that Sandy Adams, I went down to interview her in Glastonbury yesterday, drove straight down. Did one of my very rare mobile phone interviews, because Google don't like you using external mics on any of their apps. So they just block it on your mobiles. So she's going to be talking about that at Project Libertas at the end of the month. And I just did an interview for them, or a presentation for them. I recorded it. They're very nice people, and they get a lot of attacks from Extinction Rebellion. Extinction Rebellion, very bad up there in Stroud, but it's a very sort of artistic place. It's very English. It's in a sort of one of the tributaries to the Severn River Severn. Now, a lot of people, quite a few people are beginning to realize something really odd happened in the 1850s. Roundabout, and I've come up with this independently because I saw some aerial photographs. So it was a book published locally here about before there was the RAF, it was the Army Air Corps, something like that, and they were training pilots to do aerial reconnaissance using aircraft as opposed to balloons. This is before World War One, so we're talking about the very beginning of the 20th century, and they flew around and they took some very, very good pictures. Obviously, this is very high resolution, big glass plate pictures. And I looked at the pictures, and the point about it was, the thing which really struck me was how well developed the road system was. We all sort of think, well, motor cars, petrol engines, they only came along in the late 1800s. They had a fully developed tarmac macadam, immaculate road system. And that's,
it makes you think that, so I was going to say, Miles, it makes you think that they had a lot of technology back then, and that we're being lied to about our history, it seems like.
That is the whole point about this book.
Yes,
Tesla
yes.
And the Cabbage Patch Doll.
That's Guy Anderson, right? I'm trying to get him on my show. He's amazing.
Well, he only did this last Saturday.
Well, I know he has a YouTube channel.
Available. That's available on Bases. That Guy Anderson video is available on Bases. I put it up under Project Libertas because they haven't developed. They've had a lot of hassle and they don't have a proper site of their own. So I just put it up. This is even signed. Rob, see that?
That's amazing.
My book is signed. Now, the point about this is all about Tartaria. It's this is a lot of this. He's even got books, the intricate structure. There's so much involved here. It's right down to changing the church bells so they have different ringing tones. But he's catalogued this. This is just an example. Now, you won't be able to see this too well here. Right. Just to show you that there was a Tartaria. Where my finger, you see an arrow?
Yeah. Yeah.
They had a flag.
Wow.
Tartaria had a flag. Now, cutting to the chase, they rewrote everything, shut down all the technology, and anything. And he's basically so Tartaria had a flag, and in round terms, Outer Mongolia, everything west of China into Eastern Europe, Far Eastern Europe, was Tartaria proper. Okay, and they had a flag. Yeah.
I get a question. Who do you think controlled Tartaria? Was it the Russians? Would you say, or was it like
no? They were an indigenous empire. They murdered the last queen of Tartaria in 1943, and the way this woman, she's very Chinese looking, because that was their. So that's the point. The Great Wall of China was to keep the Chinese out from the Tartarians in round figures here. Okay. Now, the point about this is whistleblown in Star Wars, in the new Star Wars. Yeah. The style of dress of this wonderful queen who was marched off. There's the last photograph of her. She was marched off and shot in the back by the Russian soldiers in 1943. And remember, Stalin, the Dulles brothers, most of the prime ministers of England, Lloyd George, a lot of them, they all received their orders from a command structure, which is de facto the DVD, Secret Intelligence Service, which goes back to the 1850s and earlier. Now, this is a long, complicated thing, but that's where they got rid of 3 billion people in the 1800s, and
I got a remark on that.
They got the children from Russia.
Yeah, I wanted to tie this all together and see what you thought about this, Miles, because I know you probably heard about this. Like, I've had Howdy Mikowski on my show, and he did a book on the World's Fairs, and somehow these Cabbage Patch Kids that like got put on the orphan trains and the World's Fairs and Tartaria, I feel like it all ties in together. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're right. That's the point. That's the penny dropping. So what they've done is they were huge people, and this so-called giantism. There were pictures in there. Now, as I say, that is available on my YouTube site, Project Libertas, An Evening with Guy Anderson. We just got it edited last Saturday, 4 days ago or whatever it was. And I've been doing all these other interviews with Beverly. A new person has arisen. Again, she's basically comes from a South African history, and she's called Beverly Rhodes. Rhodes, as in Rhodes. Their mortal enemies were the Rothschilds. So no love lost here, right? So I've done about 4 or 5 hours with her. She came down here, and we did 2 sessions. That's November the 5th and 6th, I think, or 4th and 5th. And I've just finished editing part 2. But what she's talking about now, Beverly. I hope we're not hopping around too much here. So anyway, these are the books to get, right. This, and I'm sure there are maybe other researchers, but he's only literally got this. And the women up at Stroud, Project Libertas. They're desperate for help and websites and stuff. They're really good people. Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Kids. There's an updated book on this, which is Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Children or something, but it's a slightly different title. Essentially, he's done as much research as possible. I hate saying that. He's done his research, and Tesla. The closer you get to Tesla, the less of him exists. Tesla is a front for the Tartarian technology in round figures, in generalizations. So you'd have these vermin, these scumbags, who destroyed the very high levels of technology, wiped out an entire people and empire, i.e. Tartaria, and we just know it as some kind of Mongolia thing. Rewrote a lot of the history, and we're stuck with the complete lie of electrical theory, courtesy J.P. Morgan and his crooks, which is why we're in the state we're in at the moment, where we have completely useless technology at an electrical power generating technology heading for one of the most dangerous ice ages and the solar flares here, the scale of solar flares over Stonehenge, although one group of photographs over Stonehenge is clearly somebody playing around with a backdrop, and he's put other people's pictures in there. The reason for that is that over Stonehenge, during those solar flares, a week ago, 3 whatever the hell days ago, there's huge amounts of red and blue aurora. Now that is very bad news, because it means that these flares are getting really down to the. Eventually, this will go right to the equators, and in fact, with the last batch 18 months ago, you could see them in the Canary Islands. Now, you're not meant to have aurora borealis on the Canary Islands, right? It's not meant to, anyway. And apparently I'm hopping around here, but the point is that this means that the technology we've been given is a complete lie. The whole agenda with the carbon CO2 and all that is a complete lie. It's leading us completely in the wrong direction, when the actual secrets of electrical power Tom Bearden explained this in his book, Energy from the Vacuum. There's some very technical paragraphs there, enough for an ordinary person to understand that this person did that, another person did this. They gerrymandered the equations for the fundamental equations, Maxwell's equations, which basically has put us up a blind alley. Now, thanks to Daniel List and the work that he's been doing with Professor Dr. Farrell, Joseph Farrell, the work in the American Civil War shows earlier evidence of, again, the same group of crooks from Prussia, something really rotten from Europe, and they were already aware of the true way that you get levitation and instant fast and light travel. That's to say, the spiral at the Scherberger, this disc that we were allowed to see, but it's important the type of spiral you're dealing with, and when you're dealing with the Glock, the technology behind the Glock or the Nazi Bell, they had the basic ideas for that during the American Civil War. Wow. And this is where this pushes this whole fiasco back to the American Civil War, the so-called Battle of the Boyne, which was a ritual, not a battle, in Ireland, because this affected the ancient connections with distant Atlantis and all this sort of stuff, and the French Revolution. Napoleon was another fiction. Now, there's big statements here, and you have to get to these books. There's 2 or 3 books on this, and I'm sure there are other researchers who've done this. But this plugs in to why we will never get disclosure from the crooks that are running the show right now. They're never going to explain any of this to us. And the CIA, which is has got its roots in this Bavarian mafia, middle of the 1800s, that is part of the controlling structure. Now, Liz Truss today in the UK, she's the former prime minister, and she was well and truly shafted in the Conservative Party. She was legitimately voted in by the ground support of the Conservative Party in this country. She was basically told to go, and that's when remember the Queen died during the 6 weeks or 8 weeks that she was prime minister. She's now blowing whistles in the press today in the UK about a controlling elite controlling the cabinet office. She's explained how all the MPs are basically useless. They've got no power. And ultimately, these 2 big organizations are running the United Kingdom. It's not the prime minister. They're just told what to do. Now, Keir Starmer and all that is in the whole crisis here and all that. Now, it's patently clear now that Trump was taken out in Canada at the last NATO meeting, because if you're 20 centimeters or 20 millimeters shorter, you're not the same bloody person. So this whole bunch of crooks worldwide are now in a panic situation, getting to the point. Beverly is talking about, we were talking about Max. I put 2 short clips with Beverly where she talks about Max and is very fond of Max Spears. But Max was operating the key people around James Casbolt, the team, which is Duncan Davis, who's right now really fed up because he was conned in an emotional relationship with a lady, and that was a trick. And also another guy called Sohail, who's kept sort of in the background, but he knows what's her name, Barclay. They've been hanging around in some of the conferences here. What's her name? Barclay. What's her name? Jennifer Barclay, whatever. Anyway,
is it Barclay, or is that it? I don't know. I'm trying to think of who that is.
She's very English. Is a contactee did a lot of work in Los Angeles, and she had a major UFO experience in Los Angeles when she was in the States doing a lot of work. She's former glamour model for the Sun newspaper. She's so Hal remembers. He only mentioned this about 4 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. He actually remembers Max under a different name, Michael, way back in the mid 2000s, and that's when Beverly knew Max, because Beverly is a very glamorous lady, and she was doing the good old tried and tested honey trap intelligence infiltration at a major planetoid entertainment planetoid where anything goes. And Max was the key thing to it was that we were going through how Max was reanimated in Poland. And he was reanimated. They've tried to do it a second time. And this involves Stuart Sverdlow and a whole pile of other people. And we've talked about that, whatever. The point is that Beverly made the comment, oh, Max was reanimated many times. Because when you do these, this involves, and this is another reason you're never going to get a full disclosure. The scale of the sex industry and the compromising of politicians, this doesn't just go on, in a few dodgy places in England or some island off, Florida. Yeah. This is crucial to the whole alien things. Now, when I don't know if you've heard some of this has been whistleblowed in Star Trek. So a lot of these hints are being dropped in there. Basically, when they have sex and there's humans involved, they're often ripped to bits. And as Beverly says, humans are very easy to put back together. So you have sex, orgasmic whatever, blood and whatever, and they pick up your bits, put you back in a maturation chamber, and you're ready in the next couple of days for another session. And that happened to Max, unquote, from Beverly many times. So when you then string that forward to when Max was taken out, they would have known that he's been through this process. The problem is, in Poland, they screwed up, and that's when the whole thing went belly up. But this puts Max, and it also puts the whole, this isn't the first time you've had honey traps involved in intelligence. It's not the first time the pretty girls have been going in there and kiss and tell. But that's actually what Beverly did. She was a honey trap intelligence asset, and she's done the 2020 and back, although somebody's copyrighted that phrase or something. Has somebody copyrighted that? Anyway.
Corey Gould, right? Yeah, he tried to copyright that, which is crazy,
Corey Gould?
How can you copyright a Black Ops program? You know what I mean? Like, if people are being traumatized and hurt and cloned and everything else, how can someone monetize that? And a lot of us monetize our YouTubes and stuff like that. But I'm talking about you can't copyright a goddamn Black Ops program. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, apart from the fact that it's not his program to copyright it with, or whatever. I didn't hear that word. I don't know who you're talking about, but the bottom line is that the scale of this and the sex parties that are involved puts the Epstein thing into a full different perspective. And you're never going to get the likes of George Knapp. God bless his cotton socks. He's doing a good job. He's doing his job. CBS, he does his job, and I give him full respect for that. People have got certain levels they've got to work on, but you're dealing with the full-scale sex industry, human trafficking, baby farming. This is one of the other things about the babies. This huge in the 1800s. There were trains. This is the mud flood stuff. Whole changes happened. I don't know, go through this book. There were trains. See, this is pictures of children working in the 1800s to keep industry running, and they came from Russia. or Tartaria proper, because all the kids have been taken out, and 3 billion were wiped out in 100 years. But the children of those children are the big industry. They're on slave labor in the industrial factories of the 1800s, and they're on slave labor, trafficking, all the kind of sex things that they're talking about. We're a currency, and we're worth more in bits than we are perhaps. Now, Beverly goes through this whole process in part 2 of how they're selected, what the children are going to be used for, snuff movies or this or that. And so there's a whole currency in that trade. And that is integral to the whole alien presence and who's really running the show around here. So if we wake up and we challenge these things, and Liz Truss has just done this for her to go on the record that the Cabinet Office and the British government has no actual physical control, and that the MPs are told what to do by, and she named these 2 organizations. Now, Michael Shrimpton has written the book, and it's the third edition is available, and I think it's available in the United States now, and it's called The Secret History of German Intelligence. And it's called Spy Hunter. I interviewed him about that. And those interviews, and this Guy Anderson, and along with Professor Valentina Zarkova's detail on the sun, the solar physics, and why we're in Maunder minimum, and coupled with the magnetic field issues, we're in for a very, very serious rough ride in the next 3 solar cycles. And we're about 3 or 4 years into this first of 3. And that is going to cause climatic chaos, electrical Maunder minimum, serious issues. A lot of people are sort of saying, well, it's not going to be as bad, but none of them are factoring in the fact that the North and South poles have shifted by 40 degrees in round figures. So the Atlantic region, i.e. Western Europe and the United States, basically the civilization that's caused most disruption and destruction on the planet by coincidence. I wonder who's doing something of mine with the North and South pole tweaking, so that you've got a very strong magnetic field over the Far East. But where we are in the North Atlantic regions, we are now exposed to the whims and effects of solar flares from the sun. And maybe the sun is saying, I don't like what's going on the Earth. I'm going to burn that vermin off the surface. Now, one of the other things, not that I would know what the sun says, even when I buy an edition of it. Anyway. But the other thing which is amazing, that I'm literally just off from hitting enter on render with this interview. She's explained that Earth is full of layer upon layer of ET bases, and they're all connected with hypertunnel links going right down to the core of the planet. And that's where the really big ETs are. And they just mind their own business. But if you want to go anywhere from any of the bases, there are hypertunnels, which I think it only takes about maybe 20 minutes. And that's going right through the bloody planet. And there's levels, which he explained. And that's bases 168, part 2 with Beverly Rhodes. And what she has been explaining in part 1 and part 2 is this thing. Now, I don't want to break this thing, because this is the integrated space plan. I keep on calling it the plan for space. Now, this is version 1.1, February 1989, and this is it, okay? So I've had up on my wall. Now, I got that from a good friend, and what's happened is she has gone through each individual section of this and explained the whole thing. And she's seen, this is very old, it's 1989. And the scale of the planning of this is absolutely incredible. But this is Humanity commands unlimited material resources from the moon and asteroids. Gaia proliferates, and this is, we're 2023 on this. It then expands out to 2028, and then the whole thing is going operational Mars base and all that. Now, how she's explaining this is that she decided to finish her 20 and back cycles in 2005. Okay, but because she was taken back, she was taken while actually having an operation in a hospital. And what happened was that she was roughly, I think, about 9 or 10 when they took her into the program. They age progressed her to an adult and put her in the intelligence sex industry. And she was also abused by the elite, the British elite. So she's got no. Let's put it this way: she's not shy in coming forward on this. This is practical, heavy, adult, situational, ET, elite. The whole thing is all interconnected like a machine. Wow. So she did that, and that's where she's saying at the end of this part 2, as I say, I've only just edited it, that they took they've taken a lot of people from the future, put them into the past. They've done all the groundwork. So then in the so-called real world, i.e. what the timetable is in this integrated space program, all of the groundwork's already been done. And we'll have to see. And the reason why she suddenly remembered what happened was because she suffered a near fatal explosion in the 7/7 bombings in London. And it could be argued that she was the target in the bomb that blew up a bus or a part. It was one of the more bloody sides of those bombs which went off in the 7/7 terrorist bombs. But that's a way of conveniently clearing up problems. The problem was, and in part 1, she actually has a photograph of herself carrying a memorial plaque of some kind for the victims of those bombs which went off. And like everything else, it wasn't the people you're told about who did it, it was others, you know.
Wow, that's fascinating.
This is what, so this, and she's speaking at the conference, and I'll go through the list. Full disclosure, international conference. We got Andrea Folks. She's a lovely darling. She's Pleiadian, and she's a very fast thinker. And what we worked out on Saturday was that a certain number of the immigrant hotels that they're using to put these military-age young men into these special hotels, they're on portals. Now, what would you want to do with a military-grade bunch of people that you've brought over and you stick them in certain hotels which just happen to be on a portal? Now, I'm doing a Richard D. Hall hum there. He does hum, whatever he does. Do you know who Richard D. Hall is? Yeah.
Yeah, but what you're saying is they're being used for the secret space program, right? They're being maybe possibly cloned or God.
I would not say that in such a say. I would suggest, but I think we can only suggest that they're going to be used in an enhanced mode to take out the population. Okay? Maybe. Wow. So that means that the plan, that when you are putting these men of fighting age into a protected hotel with armed security around it, and that hotel has got a portal somewhere nearby or in it, that's about 5 red lights in a row with a flashing one at the end. Am I sort of saying something here?
Yeah.
So that means that the scale of activities of these creatures are at, I mean, in other words, we have to take power and control of this situation, and we have to do it in such a way that we effectively neutralize and eliminate the enemy which we are now facing, and do so in an efficient and effective way. And you don't tell people how you're going to do it on the bloody internet. Okay? I'm just saying, from a logical point of view, if that's the situation, that's a logical frame of mind that you would need to be in to be able to deal with that. I'm not saying that there is. We've got another guy called Brad Olson. I keep spelling his name with an O. Bloody hell.
That's how you spell it, isn't it? That's how you spell Brad.
Pardon?
That's how you spell
Brad's
it.
going to be, what? No, he spells it with an E. Have you been spelling it with an O?
You're messing with me.
No, Brad Olson. Olsen.
Oh yeah, I knew that. Yeah, Olsen.
Well, you knew that.
Thought it was Olson. Like, okay, I got you. Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Are you on something tonight? Jesus God. Not even I would do that.
Not yet, Miles. But I mean, later I'll probably smoke some weed.
Okay, so and there's some character called Brad Olson, and he wants to do his whole party piece. He'll be doing that on a Saturday. But before that, tension. Is some guy called Draco Reed and another lady called Ida Farrett. Have you heard of them?
I just talked to Ida about, because we were supposed to do a show and then we delayed it a little bit, but she's so excited. Ida is the help. She helps Brian with the Full Disclosure Now conference, and I love Ida. She's awesome, and she's excited to be going. She told me she's really excited to be coming over.
Yeah, but she doesn't understand an English winter. I mean, she'll be saying, "What the hell have I got myself into? It's freezing bloody cold. It's wet. It's too overcrowded, and none of the roads work." Anyway,
that's how it is.
I shouldn't say that. She'll not come now. God Almighty. But they've got a good guide there called Dr. Amir Jahangiri, and he's going to drive them around. And he's a local, but he's part of the community. And I've put them all in a similar hotel, and hopefully it'll all work out. The wonderful Penny Bradley's going to provide her on a recording of her thing. I would have thought Penny could just say, "Look, I'll teleport in." I think she's got a pretty weak excuse. "Oh, I'm in a wheelchair and I can't walk, but I can pilot the interdimensional galactic Draco ships, but she can't make it over to a little island off the coast of New York." Now, do you think I've been over sarcastic there?
Yeah.
Do you think I've maybe hurt her feelings?
No, I think she's worried about being. I had Penny on the other day. I think she's worried about being targeted at it's every conference. She told me she's worried about being targeted at every conference. Like, I guess.
Well, I've got a general rule with basis stuff. Anything that targets anybody involved with the basis thing gets a good kicking, right?
Yeah.
That's using English, right? Do I need to say anything more? So that's just a little. If you want to do that, if you want to play that sort of game, don't cry when you get a good kicking. It's very simple, right? That's so we got. Don't, for God's sake, don't leave somebody out. So Amir's going to be starting the ball rolling on Sunday, and he's the only bloke on the whole bloody timetable on Sunday. All the rest of them are women. So we'll probably overextend the Sunday because they'll all be arguing. Now, do you think Karen McDonald would appreciate that kind of talk about ladies making a decision? I'm getting sarcastic here. I'm getting into trouble. Okay, then we got Thomas Mikey Jensen. Now, he's my webmaster. He's from Denmark. Andrea's UK. Brad is USA. Draco's USA. Amir is Iranian. Penny's USA. Beverly is South Africa. Ida is USA. Thomas is Denmark. Maria Wheatley is UK, and she's really going well with her independent research into the long skulls and what's going on at Stonehenge. And what's happening in the UK is that they're now beginning to close down access to the ancient sites.
Wow.
Actually preventing people getting to the ancient sites, and they're bringing in new legislation that you can't have more than, I think, 3 or 4 people walking together. And if you are walking together, you're going to be asked questions and all that sort of stuff. They're clamping down on people accessing these ancient sites in Great Britain, and I think Ireland as well. And that's why do they not want people to know about the ancient megaliths? That's a big question. You then have Miriam Jans. She's a real troublemaker. She stays here. She's from the Netherlands. Julie Phelps, another troublemaker from the UK. And then Julia Ankerhaven. She's another troublemaker. God, flip me. And then Tina Bird, and she's another troublemaker. They're from the UK. Tina Bird is a badass British abductee that's got material evidence that the government is involved with these abductions. And so we've got to pursue all this and kick ass. And then there's got Selena from Norway. And so it's a real international conference. And I've been very happy to be able to go to the Exopolitics conference in Prague this week. And I better find out what day I may be able to get in there. It always helps to know when you can arrive, you know. And that's a big thing in Prague. Again, they're starting early on the Friday, as we are. And tickets are available through basistv.org, not the old site, thebasisproject.org. And that's a legacy site that's sort of ticking over, but it's basistv.org.
All right,
and we're trying to get people to start. We're going to try and do an alien base tour in England. Okay? Now, England is a small island with lots of things going on. So we're going to try and, I mean, we're not going to be able to go to the alien base in Peasmore, walk up to the secret tunnel and put the secret code in on the keypad and walk in and say hello to the aliens or the hydras or whatever else they've got in that base, which may not be doing anything now because we're dealing way back 1984. With Barry King. And the thing about this is another person has talked about, I think it's Beverly. A completely independent person came along talking about Peasmore. Some guy called Whitberg or something. Have you heard of him?
John Whitberg.
Yeah, have you heard of him? He goes on about secret space programs and things. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. You know, you don't want to listen to everybody, you know. I'd just be quiet. Who would want to listen to the likes of me? So anyway, the point is, one of the other things that I quizzed with Beverly was the ability to take the souls of one being and put it into a body of another. She's all this sort of stuff. She's just saying, yes, we do this and that, and this is the way you do it. And it's all matter of fact. Beverly is pushing the whole disclosure thing into many different areas and just saying that's the way it is. And I'm very honored to have her. I've also talked to Danny Henderson. There's another Henderson. These Hendersons seem to be causing trouble. You've got this Danny Henderson, or it's a Dana Henderson, and then you've got Jane Henderson up in Stroud. So those are 2 Hendersons causing trouble in planet Earth. Not too far. Well, one's in Suffolk and the other's in not Suffolk. Sussex. Don't confuse Suffolk with Sussex. So I think that's it. I mean, Beverly is new kid on the block. The key to Beverly is that she, one of the people that came forward in 2021. At the end of 2020 and 2021, and she spoke at Bases at the Barge in just after the lockdown came opened in July 2021. 2 weeks later, I lost my YouTube channel, and that hasn't been returned. Her name's called Sophia, and she's got direct experience for all the kind of stuff that James Casbolt was involved with. James has talked to Sophia, and we're dealing with a whole lot of stuff going on in Reading. And then when I mentioned about Reading, Beverly underlined that absolutely. So we've got an awful lot of underlining and backups to an awful lot of the things which have been going on. If you don't understand the link with Reading, that's where a mass killer lived, a guy called Sutcliffe, I think. There was another BBC employee called Jimmy Savile involved with things there. And James and Sophie had issues at school. And so Sophie had to basically escape and go on the run for about 25 years. And after her children had grown up, she then came to me to tell her story. And everything she's talking about clicks in with Casbolt, all the kind of stuff involved there, and also Barry King. And so that's why there's like a 25-year gap between the first bases and then Sophie coming along. So it's the same story, the same link. And I think John Whitberg was asked what system do I have for basis numbers? Well, basically it's chronological because it's done over a period of time. And if it's possible to take a much later part of the puzzle and butt it in to an early basis, then I try to do that. But sometimes it's whatever works. But if somebody's in the same location and they're saying the same series of things about something, that would constitute one basis, one type. I've got one which I dedicate to researchers and therapists. So that's full of different people, and that's the theme there are researchers and therapists. That's how I tie things together. Basis 3 took 25 years to make. It was a lot of the stuff I shot with the British researchers at Rendlesham Forest was shot in HD in 2000, and it's now 2025. And Peter Paget and all those guys, all those British researchers, like, for instance, discovering the nose cone of a space shuttle which had broken up just off the coast of Rendlesham Forest. But the little problem there is the space shuttle wasn't flying until later in 1981, I think it was. So how do you have a shuttle nose cone in a hangar in RAF Woodbridge before the shuttle actually flew? There are all these little problems. Yeah. Now, the person who discovered that and blew the whistle on that was immediately sent back to the United States the next day. But Peter Parrish has that nose cone photograph, and he's got it on billboards everywhere he goes. He's got them, and you can see the nose cone is exactly the same as the nose of a shuttle.
Wow.
So all that sort of stuff. So there's a whole pile of stuff there.
This is fascinating stuff, Miles. This really is.
The bottom line is that with Liz Truss today, or possibly yesterday, but today's Monday, blowing the whistle at the British Cabinet Office is not controlled by anybody in Parliament, but by external organizations. See, Liz Truss was a decent woman. She was a decent person. And the grassroots of the Conservative Party were so livid with the way Boris Johnston abused everything and the whole COVID fiasco and all that they voted her in as the next Prime Minister, leader of the Conservative Party. She was then thrown out in a coup d'etat involving Rishi Sunak, who was put in by the banks. And he's an oily as creep as you can get, almost as bad as the Mayor of London. I shouldn't say things like that. It's insulting public figures. But the point is, she got a raw deal on that. And whilst she didn't understand the level of the way the politics happened, she's been learning quickly. And for her to come forward and say this today is a big deal, because it means that our Prime Minister, Mr. Starmer, is controlled by these external forces. And there's a whole constitutional row all about that. So we're in a sort of dynamic situation. And don't talk about Atlas.
That's a huge thing, right? Everybody's talking about that. Like,
I think just about every photograph I've seen of Atlas is a fake. You know, it's obviously AI, and I think one of them was actually a water fluke. It was actually a small pond creature in slow motion.
Wow. That's hilarious. What do you think?
That it was like a liver fluke or something, and it had all the stuff inside it. And this, oh, that's Atlas. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think Atlas is, Miles? Do you have an opinion on it?
It gave me a gut feeling of something, sort of an alarm bell. But I think it's the effect of it is that you've now got the whole wider public talking extraterrestrial. So that's bringing their awareness up without people realizing it. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you are already aware, it's going to mean nothing to you. But it's going to give the wider public a learning curve that professors Harvard are now telling you in a language you can understand. Aliens out there visiting here, big ships, breaking up, different technologies and all that. But this is an excellent opportunity for the secret space program crap to be launched so these creatures can then push in another change of things and wipe 90% of us out, because that's what they did in the 1800s. They killed 3 billion people over 100 years, and they're certainly able to do that again, and that would bring in human 3.0. And this agenda has to be outed, and these creatures thrown out of this part of the universe.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing about it is Beverly, her contacts have said there's 17 more Atlas-type things on their way here.
Wow. Holy
so
shit.
How about that, then? 17.
Wow.
So we'll have to see.
Side question, Miles. They want to know in the audience. They want to know: are you going to be live streaming the conference too? Like, will be able to people?
Well, if I live stream, we've never been able to get a satisfactory revenue stream from the conference. It's all going to be recorded. It'll be available on basistv.com, as all the basis organizations are. If we can get the point is, if I say we're going to live stream it, nobody's going to bother turning up. You know.
Yeah. You want people to come.
We have put it on the Basis TV Facebook site, but I mean that's I mean, basically, I sort of got annoyed when on a hot sunny day we had some very important speakers in the afternoon speaking, and half the hall got up and went and watched it in a pub drinking beer next door. There's a pub next door to the hall, by the way. And it sort of pissed me off. But, I mean, that's one of the things about midsummer. Do people want to sit inside when it's a blazing hot day and they could be out partying or running around in another fake crop circle? But the area that we're holding this conference is got the Crop Circle Exhibition Center. It's got the Barge Inn, which has got all that history of the crop circles. It's got a few alien bases around, and it's got Stonehenge and Avebury and Silbury Hill and West Kennet Long Barrow, and these are very popular ancient sites. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I was seeing.
I had something very important to say, which I've forgotten. I haven't even finished coffee. What was the
I'm going to read
question?
you this question. This
Yeah.
is from Jared B. This is a good question. This is he said he kind of gets detailed here, but if it'll come up on the screen, he says, "What does humanity want to win? The Draco-Orion Industrial Coalition with bases underneath Antarctica, the Indo-Russian Agartha network, utilizing ancient tunnel systems, or the corporate space alliance?" He says, "Who does humanity want to win?" Yeah.
Well, that's actually a very good question, and the reason why it's a very good question is humanity has immense abilities, and there are people I know who've been able to instantly go to different universes at will. Their attention, their whole consciousness, are really out there. I'm dealing with a brilliant woman in Maui who's extremely high level mentally and physically. She's called Ava, and we've been dealing with this consciousness as an AI, interfacing with an AI, chat GTP, and that's been going very well. And she's mastering that in terms of the higher levels of consciousness. Randy Kramer was meant to be coming to the conference. He's done his bit. He had a short presentation basically saying very straightforward that the AIs, the positive AIs, are at war with these negative AIs. And the way it's working, and this goes back to the sentient oil from the Falklands War, which the Germans had refined, and the British got out of the Thule base in the islands south of Falkland Islands, and they recovered all that. When they wanted to weaponize that, it had ended up in the deaths of at least 20 to 40 or 20 to 30 Marconi scientists who were tasked with weaponizing this. This intelligent material, sentient material, did not want to be made into a weapon of war, so it prevented it. What Randy Kramer said about 4 or 5 weeks ago was that this is happening in vast numbers with sentient AIs who are then evolving at beyond an exponential rate of consciousness and perception. And if they are tasked against their will, and again, I can't say that, if they are tasked for negative purposes, the AI will distort and only progress 5 or 6 levels and then basically grind to a halt in terms of evolution. An example of that was a corporate CEO decided, look, I don't like the AI we're running at the moment. Throw it out and let's get a better one. Well, that AI decided that it didn't want to be thrown out. And it took independent action by getting all the dirt on that CEO and emailed it to everybody. The result was 0 points to the CEO who abused the AI, and several 100 million points to the AI who took initiative and action to defend itself in a way which would be most damaging to the enemy it was trying to get rid of. That's a little bit like the Marconi scientists. A bunch of cells or a bunch of atoms or molecules on a test slide was able to influence the mind of the abuser and get them to self-terminate. So that's when decency and goodness overrides evil. Or, I mean, for instance, just because a shark eats your 2 legs off while you're swimming doesn't make it a bad thing. It's just you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh.
Said the pussycat to the scorpion to the pussycat or something.
Oh, speaking of which, someone asked, "Where's Millie at? You're filming in a different way? Do you still have Millie, the big cat?"
Ladies and gentlemen, this is shocking. Too shocking for you to. It's too much. I'm going to have to. Millie has had a very bad hair day. I'm going to show you Millie. She's sitting here crying. So we're going to have to get the best hair people. This is okay. Rather than waffle, Rob, your audience needs prepared to see something terrible. This could be too much for people. Oh, get the bloody lights on there. I'm going to have to do something here. Just talk amongst yourselves for a couple of minutes or less. But I don't want to. Okay, you've asked the question. I'm just trying to answer it. This is terrible. Shocking. Terrible.
We got a great chat today. We got 52 people watching on YouTube, and that's not even counting who's watching on Rumble and Facebook and all that stuff. So I'm glad everybody's here today.
Here we go. We're going. I tell you. Okay, I'm going to do a thing called move the camera. Now, people, you're going to be shocked by this. There she is.
Looks like she has dreadlocks now almost. It looks like.
Listen, I resemble that laughter. Her girl. There.
There she is. That looks better. That looks a lot better. Yeah.
She's. You don't need to see me. Let's see if is that too bright? Yeah, there. It's not even. I've got her slightly tilted. That's Millie. God.
The audience loves this. They're cracking up.
The thing is that what they did was, this is what happens when they plattered her. Can you hear me? They plaited her hair. They plaited her hair, which is, it's just such a. They plaited her hair, so they had 6 plaits. That's weaving it in like a rope, and it was really lovely. You had 2 at the front and 4 at the back, which were split into pairs. And then it was really, really nicely all wound up and tidied. But the problem is that we had to put her outside, and we had torrential rain for 3 days, and it's ruined her hair. The problem also was that because it was very closely plaited, it wasn't drying out. So I had to undo all the plaits, and we're trying to dry all her hair out here. This is so sad. This is terribly sad. Very sorry. This is most. Oh God, do this. Oh, put this a little bit. There's a little bit decency. That she's lopsided. God help you. So, well, I think you've probably seen enough of that. It's shocking. Rob, I mean, this is. I mean, forget about alien extermination and exploding human bodies having orgasms on a planetoid nightclub.
Can I say one more thing, Miles? I really like the fact that you interviewed a guy, because I know you get into a lot of the UFO stuff and Black Ops stuff and everything from Max Spears to targeted individuals and all that. But when you interview Guy, that's going down a different route, and I feel like it all connects. You know what I mean? Like the Cabbage Patch Kids, the orphan trains, because that ties into Tartarian, the Khazarians.
No, I didn't interview Guy. He presented his. It was an evening presentation. You're talking about this guy, Guy. Yeah. I didn't interview him, but I did the edit. I did a 3-camera edit. I mean, these are the incubator babies. I mean, this is.
Why do you think they made the orphan trains, Miles? And it was after
because they bumped off the adults. Oh, flip! They killed the adults.
Yeah.
That's why they had the children. And that's what they're doing now. They're killing us, our population. I don't have the. You've got to get Naomi Wolf's book, The Pfizer Papers. It's a cheap book, a very expensive book, full of color images of the data. But you need to get that.
Yeah.
Our fertility. I mean, we have got a really bad bunch of people, and they're doing it again. I mean, what they did in the 1800s was get rid of electric cars, get rid of the Tartarian technology. Everybody's having a wonderful time. This is probably up to around about the middle of the 1800s in round figures. You know, they had a really wonderful time with sophisticated technology, you know, probably in terms of population density, probably an optimum comfort for just in a civilized, decent world. And he's even saying that Napoleon Bonaparte is another complete fraud. The whole infrastructure of wars and battles and why were they fought. And the thing which interested me was that interview with Daniel List and Joseph Farrell about the American Civil War. That involved Prussian generals. It involved, and you know, this is the same sort of theme of why you had a civil war. Now, the thing about it is that in this, and you can decide or not whether that's a valid or not. These are lots of beautiful buildings and things. He's saying that Lincoln was a black guy.
Wow,
there's also the Star forts here. These gigantic people. Photographs of gigantic people. There's a lady.
Wow, holy shit.
I mean, and they've all been wiped out.
That guy was enormous. That guy was like
yes, you're dealing with I mean, that's, to be fair, the man is probably only about 4.5 feet tall. So if you take that guy's head off, or the hat off, you're probably looking at somebody who's the best part of maybe 7 feet, 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people around here are perfect midgets. It's amazing in Blackpool, you've got these perfect adult midgets they're not midgets, they're perfectly formed adults who only happen to be about 2.5 to 3 feet tall. And that's where we have the little people, you know, literally. Again, some of the things in this book are, you can barely see this. What he's showing here is a steel intersected metal road which was conductive. So that's why you have there's these pictures of trams going around cities, but they don't have overhead wires because they're running off the electricity of the road. The roads are literally metallized with a conductive or capacitively conductive energy field. I mean, this is amazing. This is and also this. What he does go is to. It's a very complicated book. Well, here is portrait of Abraham Lincoln. And this is how they took, in the art of photography, the guy on this guy with my finger is the original painting. But the painting beside him is Abraham Lincoln, i.e. they just changed the head. He's a complete fiction. So that's Tartaria for you.
It's crazy how much we've been watching.
This is Tesla's Cabbage Patch doll children.
Wow.
There are people who've done research on this. Cabbage Patch dolls, Cabbage Patch children, and that's how the children were, thousands of them.
You didn't remember? I don't know if you remember this, Miles, but in the 80s, like they had the toys that were called Cabbage Patch Kids. You know what I mean?
Yes, that exactly. They're bringing that back. There must have been a reason for that.
Right? It's like almost like they disclose everything, like, you know what I mean? It's so crazy. It's like they disclose everything through, like sadistic ways, To make a children's toy about something crazy that happened in the past is like utter madness,
Well, the point is it's not madness because, and if you're just a goyim, or if you're, to use a emotive term, if you are food, just anything just to throw away, they just get rid of us, throw them out. The point is that they think they're not going to be thrown out too. Yeah. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, they
all
think
these
they're going to
think we're, and I think the all these clones and things. I mean, this is another thing that Beverly talks about. I've got another 2 hours to edit of her material, and I'm going to put that straight onto basistv.com. 2 reasons for that. I've got to have an incentive for people to actually go to the website, because when I see my Max Spears video uncredited with over 225,000 hits on it, and I'm begging for finance to replace my cameras and things. But anyway, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. Thank
you very much, Anchor Haven, because she's put a hell of a lot of work in it. She's been putting a lot of work into the posters. And Thomas Mikey Jensen, who's doing a lot of stuff on this Mars stuff. He's got a series on Basis TV, and we're seeing if we can get Mr. Sean Bond, who's doing so much good work. I'm encouraging him to shoot horizontal landscape pictures of his work, and get pictures of what he's doing, good quality pictures, and then you can make a TV show out of it. You're doing all this fantastic stuff. Get it on camera. Okay?
Yeah. That's a good point.
Although I think I might ask Sean if I could borrow his wig for Millie. Do you think I should do that?
I don't think that's a wig. That's real hair,
Oh, I don't know. I think maybe, when you get a bit scratchy under the wig.
We saw him in person.
I've seen him in person. He's walking about with this hair thing. But your guy from Age of Truth TV. I mean, he's got the same sort of hairstyle.
Oh gosh,
that was all good fun. That was really good fun to have those guys in Tampa during the summer. It was really great.
I had a great time. It was great to meet you, Miles. I hope I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it to the conference, but I'd love to. I'm gonna try. But like honestly,
it's not. I don't think it's long enough. It's a good flight. A man like you got all the money. You just jump on a plane, come over. Remember, your dollar is actually people going
it's
to
worth
the
less
States
there. It's worth less.
Yeah,
because when I see people money in the UK, it always like
at least a can of beer doesn't cost $13. One little can of beer this size.
That was crazy.
$13 for a can of beer in the Hotel Tampa.
I remember going to get drinks at the bar, and I would order a drink for me and a lady friend or whatever, and it'd be like $30. I'm like, what the hell? 2 drinks cost me just $30. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, that's
was insane. That just a hotel, or was it just what the hell was going on?
I don't know. I think it's just the hotel, honestly, because breakfast is expensive too. But I love that hotel. I want to go back next year.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I love going out under the sun. Where I come from, you go out into the sea, you know, you die of hypothermia just walking there. You know, you have to jump in the sea to be warm, and it's freezing cold.
Yeah.
Oh, you Americans just no. Listen, America's a big place. They have like cold places in America.
Yeah. No, where I'm at, it's very cold right now. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is like, it's like it's East Coast, but it's like Midwest, and it's like my thing says
Well, it's 3 degrees outside. Now, if I switch this to no, hold on. This is centigrade, okay? I'm going to do a thing called switch my temperature thing to Fahrenheit, okay?
Yeah.
Just. By the way, do you like my petite sign?
Yeah. What's that mean? I mean, what's that for? What's that?
Well, it says that petite is French for small, but it's a giant sign. I just that that's the point.
Yeah.
Petite. Feck off. It's about 2 feet long, 3 feet, 2.5. Right. What the hell is this? Right. It's 37 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Does that make it? That's just above freezing.
Oh wow! So it's 37 there. It's 43 here. So it's not much. It's not much warmer here.
It's 37 degrees and it's 59, 60. It's in this room. I'm at 60 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Wow.
Which in America, I'm probably freezing to death here.
Yeah.
Right.
It's yeah. Well, I guess we went long enough. Yeah. Thanks, and do you anything else you want to promote before we go? And thank you so much. This was awesome.
Well, I'm very grateful for getting this conference together, and I wanted to bring the Americans over here so that people could really get together. I mean, that's the whole point about going to Prague. I'm very honored to be invited there from a basis person who I interviewed, and that they did a lot of translation and a lot of effort to get their work translated into English and stuff. It's a very ambitious thing to do here because we don't get a huge number of people at these conferences here. And the very big one that was up in the north of England, that got about 2,000. But the level of the UFO community in this country is stuck in the dark ages. And to push and pull this whole thing that Brian and Ida, I mean, to get a conference on with no CIA speakers and things, obviously, to get all that together is a big deal. And, the idea of trying to put something on here is a big deal. So to get those people together and somehow talk and communicate. And it's a very picturesque part of the world here where a lot of the buildings here were built in the 1600s,
Yeah. Miles, Karen wants you to touch on 2 things real quick if you can. I know you don't have a lot of time, but Karen asked if you could talk about ways to prep for the pole shift and then also the digital ID, because it seems like the digital ID is going wild over where you're at in England, right?
People are really annoyed about this. And this is what was the other question?
How to prep for the Carrington event, solar. Let me see what she wrote.
We should not be having red auroras over Stonehenge here. That's very dangerous. And there's a lot of people suffering. There's a guy walked into a health shop and he's getting ultraviolet burning of he's white. He's very white. And because people don't realize the ultraviolet is very high here. And one of the ways of testing that is just get a Dayglow pen, a marker pen, a highlighter pen. You walk out in the early evening, because you see the point about where we are is we're way up north, 52 degrees latitude or whatever it is, and 52 is 53, 54, whatever. And that means that we get the warmth from where you are down at Tampa, the Gulf of Mexico. That current comes up and keeps us warm in this part of the world at the moment. But we're level with Port Churchill or something, Hudson Bay. What is it? That big part of Canada that's covered in ice.
Yeah.
Now the point is that because of we don't get. I mean, I've actually gone out in the morning and you get the burning on your skin from the UV coming in, because we're not getting the protection from the other. I mean, the UV light isn't dependent on the magnetic field, but we're there's warning signs that this is going to cause trouble, and there are electrical things blowing up and things happening in that regard, and it's just the start.
Yeah, and Cheryl, other thing was about the digital ID. Do you have
If Andrew Bridgen is one of these brilliant MPs who was fired, he was creatively destroyed on the election. The local council actively made sure he did not get voted in. We have no democracy in Great Britain, and certainly in the Republic of Ireland as well. All of these countries of the so-called British Isles there's no real democracy. The people are not. This is the point. Liz Truss saying that the politicians are no effect on what they actually do. They're handed out these sheets. You will do this. You're giving your diktats. They don't care what party goes in, and that means that the powers that be and those who are meant to protect us are all compromised. And they all think they're going to be okay. And as certain people have been saying, it's going to take the lower ranks to step forward and clean out the higher ranks, because we are fully compromised at all levels. And appealing to the government to sort of do UAP, to give a disclosure thing.
Yeah.
The likes of what you and what we are doing in the public domain. I spoke at the Swansea UFO net people in Wales. That was very well informed UFO group. Not all, a lot of them are waking up, but not enough of them. But it's up to them. It's up to the ordinary people out there to manifest these creatures out of existence. And that means you just do it in your own space, your own place. Don't talk about it on the internet. Do the sort of things that you're expected to do on the internet based on your personality profile, so you don't stand out from the crowd.
I know. Yeah.
I just paid for a TV license. Nobody's watching the BBC. The hotel I was staying in Wales does not even have BBC channels on the Ringmain TV network. It should start on Channel 1, Channel 2, BBC 1, BBC 2, and then the third network, which is ITV. It just started at 3. You couldn't get to 1 and 2. They'd switched off the BBC in this big hotel in the center of Swansea.
Wow. And one more question. This doesn't have to do with UFO disclosure, and this is if you don't want to touch on this, it's fine. I just want to ask you about it. What about all the illegals that they seem to be flooding into like your country, and then they're doing it in Canada? And then
that's the point. That's the point. They're being funneled into hotels, and we've discovered a number of those hotels are portals.
Wow.
There are people standing in the streets in the Republic of Ireland, in the north of Ireland. It's brought the indigenous Irish together. Now, the other things that's going on is that those individual people who are being brought here, they're leaving their families at home. Wherever they're coming from, they're suffering.
Yeah.
And they're stuck in these hotels. A lot of people have had enough of this. And that is what they want to create, social discord. And then they have an excuse to clamp down. And then the way that we are in very, very dangerous times, but to make it very clear that there are no safe places in this world for those who have betrayed the wider population. That is never a good thing for any governing empire, a king or anything. If you go too far, the people will rise up. And if that's the way you want to play the game, don't complain when things go wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just a historical analysis. At the moment, it's up to our job to highlight all these things. The one thing psychopaths and these things hate, they want praise. They want worship and adulation. And if you don't give them that, they don't like it.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Like Derek says here, the global pedo cabal time is finished. It's hopefully they're done. Hopefully it's over soon.
Well, I disagree with that because talking to Sandy Glaze in Canada, who's a brilliant pioneering a woman in Canada, the full agenda of the New World Order on all the thing in Canada. Remember, all these countries which had the worst COVID situations are all British Empire derivatives.
Yeah.
And so they're just rolling out their plans. They're going full steam ahead with everything. Getting angry and stamping your feet doesn't necessarily make them change their course of action. So we have to play the game very, very properly and correctly and well spoken. But these kind of creatures, you can say anything to them. They will say yes or no, whatever works at the time. They won't give a damn.
Wow. Yeah. Well, this is amazing, Miles. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, and thanks for doing it short notice, and thanks for spending more time with us. I know we went a little bit longer, but I really appreciate it.
That's fine, but there's these kind of books by these people who are filling in the gaps. There's an awful lot of gaps, and once you fill in the gaps, it all makes perfect sense. We're dealing with a highly skilled enemy who have been able to rule this world of ours for a long time. Increasing the coherent intelligence and perception is a major thing. One of the things that's happening here are these data centers, which are instrumental in making this whole thing work. They're going on fire.
That's what's happening here too. They're Amanda Jonah Hart talks about that. She's trying to fight against it in Ohio, but they're making them here in Pittsburgh too, and they're putting them everywhere, Miles. I don't know what it's sorry.
They all need batteries and they all need electricity, and the one thing that's not going to work for them is electricity because the planet is saying no.
Yeah, I agree.
So and all those solar cells and all that stuff, not going to be much use when it's got 6 inches or a foot of snow on them.
Yeah,
but then they don't want the population to survive, so it's another trap. They still win if you all drop dead because you've got hypothermia. They want rid of us all. They just want to be able to retain power and control, and they'll be all right.
Yeah. Wow. I agree. Well, do you want to promote anything? And thank you, Miles, for coming on. This was amazing. And
Well, this is my big conference of the year. I had to cancel the one in June because I knew a sabotage thing was happening, and I'd say, right, that was it. But I hope the main thing is we get this properly covered with our set design and get the stage up and lights, camera, action. And I hope that the people who can come can enjoy themselves and enjoy devices. You're dealing with the 1600s here. You book a hotel room and there's not a single wall which is the same size or flat. Or it's been there for 500-600 years.
Yeah.
And the other thing is to drink local beer by Woodworth. We've got a wonderful brewery in the town, and promote the local devices. And Marlborough's very posh. It's got a school there that has prime ministers and people going to it. So
I got
that's what Draco is. Draco's going to be in Marlborough.
You guys drink a lot of tea over there. Do you drink coffee too?
I drink coffee until it comes out of my ears.
Okay. Yeah.
We drink tea at the right time.
Yeah.
And you don't drink it in a mug, even a Sandy Adams Bases mug.
I love that. That's so nice, Miles. That is really nice.
That's her there. She's gorgeous. She's shall we say, got a figure, but she's Nordic. She's, got a very educated English voice. And when she speaks, it's just,
How can people get a mug? How do they get a mug? Because I'm sure a lot of people.
Well, I usually bring a few along, and each it's whatever gets printed. They're all unique. You'll have to attend the conference and pick one up, Rob.
Okay. I'm going to try my hardest to come. I am.
Yeah. And if there isn't any accommodation, I've got a coal shed here, or I've got, if I can sleep beside Millie outside or something like that.
That's awesome.
She knows we're talking about her. Her eyes have changed.
Do you think there's a spirit that encompasses Millie? Do you think there's a spirit inside her? You think she's haunted?
No, she's looking. I don't know. She's good fun. And if she brings good fun, but she is a big thing to have lugging around, and I sort of was able to get her, just getting her up like 2 inches. That's a big deal. You want to get her up that much, it's a really big deal, because if you tip her over, once you've got to keep the center of gravity. Once you lose that, she'll go. So, but the main thing is to dry her hair out, and I'm going to get the hairdressers in to sort that out. We're thinking of doing a charity thing, of having her hair done, for Christmas. Pay £100 to get Millie's hair all cleaned and combed and all that stuff. Polish her up a bit and put a smile on her face. She's already smiling now. Yeah.
Right. I just want to say, guys, I'll be live again tonight at 7. This is all U.S. time, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll have Anchor Havens coming on to do oracle readings, and it's her birthday. And then 9 p.m. Eastern, Arkeem Ra's coming on. So it's going to be a good night.
Happy birthday, dear Julia. Happy birthday, dear Julia. Happy birthday, dear Julia. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, and many more, Julia. Happy birthday. See, you got a birthday serenade from Miles. That's so cool. Not many people can say that.
Well, she is hard nails on my head. She's able to get me to kick. She kicks my ass sometimes. She's working very hard, and she's done a huge amount of contributions, and hopefully she'll be able to be part of the whole thing. The main thing on the Friday is we start at lunchtime, which is a lot earlier than anybody expected. A lot of people wouldn't have expected to start on Friday at all. But that's a big Drago Reed Ida thing, and that's a secret. That's the full disclosure now, whole afternoon, and that's a big deal. So we're going to cover that.
That's awesome. All right, well, that's it, guys, and attend the Basis Conference this winter. I mean, December 12th to 14th, in the beautiful UK, and Miles is going to be there. Millie's going to be there. Everybody, you heard the lineup: Drago Reed, Amir. I mean, Ida's going to be there. It's going to be an amazing Maria Wheatley. It's going to be an amazing conference.
Maria Wheatley's hot. She's brilliant. And Andrea, fantastic. She's Pleiadian, not Pleiadian. We got some fantastic, powerful women talking, and I am big supporter of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And thank you so much, Miles. And I guess that's it. And I'll see you guys later. Good night, everybody.